This is broken. highly suspect. I appreciate that. Someone asked how much my colors cost. I guess you're asking how much the colored pencil materials cost. So I'm using Prismacolor, and depending on what set you get, they're varying costs. There's little as $20 for, I think, like 24 pencils. I think the 48 pencil set is 40 some bucks. So usually if you get on sale, they're a little over $1 a pencil. Hey, Noodle Addict. This is actually for an art show that I'm doing next year. So I'm trying to have about 20 pieces for this art show. So this is going to be one of the pieces in the art show. So it will be for sale eventually, but it has to go to the art show first. Hey, Wolf Artist. I've never tried Procreate. I really want to get into digital art, but I've never tried it. I have another creator who I talk to frequently, and she's trying to encourage me to use Procreate, so I am planning on doing it at some point soon. Thanks, Wolf. I appreciate it. So, Hunter. Someone asked how long I've been drawing. For a long time, for decades. And someone else asked how long the longest drawing has been. It's about 40 hours for drawing. For painting, I think I've worked on a painting for probably maybe 60 to 70 hours is the longest painting I've done. But for what I've been posting on TikTok the last year and a half, about 40 hours. I've done 2 drawings that have been about 40 hours. This piece here will probably be longer than that. because I'm already about 20 hours in and I have tons left to do. So I'm guesstimating this piece is going to be longer than 40 hours. Have I ever started something and not finished? I do that all the time. You can actually find some of my videos I've posted recently where I picked out some drawings that I really wanted to finish that I had started and I just haven't finished. But yeah, as an artist, I have all these ideas and things that I want to do, and these series that I want to do with certain paintings and drawings. And sometimes I lose motivation, or sometimes I start working on something else that takes hold of me more so than what I was working on before. So yeah, I do that a lot. Caden asked about motivation for these hard drawings. Not really. For me, it's, once I come up with that concept, if I'm really excited about that concept, I can look past the fact that it might take 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 hours to do. I think the low point for me is once I finish the sketch and then I start doing the colored pencil and the marker, there's a point where it doesn't look good. So that's kind of a low point for me, because especially when I lay down the marker base and I just think about all the layers of color and pencil that I have to do, I won't say that I get unmotivated, but that's probably my least favorite part of the drawing process. Sketching for me is really easy. I can knock that out usually in a day or two. Laying down the marker base is not hard, but once you lay down that marker base, you cover up a lot of the sketch and it just looks really bad in my opinion. But then I start completing some areas and I can see, you know what, this actually might turn out okay. Jason. Hey, thanks, Hunter. I appreciate that. So someone asked about how do I know when it's finished. So again, for me, it's all about that concept that I have in my head. So for this piece, it's going to be, my hand holding, this watch. So I'm going to complete this piece, the thumb, 2 more fingers, and the watch face, and the band, and there's some shadow areas. But, it really depends. It's a good question, but it's such a broad question because it really depends on what you're drawing. If I'm doing a commission for somebody and I know what they want, then I know when that painting or drawing will be completed, when it looks like whatever that buyer wanted. If I'm just drawing for me sometimes, if I'm not doing realism, you have a feeling. I feel like most artists or creators, they just know when something's complete. You have that feeling that it's done. But for realism, it's a little bit easier because if you're trying to replicate a subject or a photo, then you're done when you get finished, all the areas of that replication. These are Prismacolor. That's usually what I use. I have lots of different brands here at my workstation, but I tend to find myself always gravitating to Prismacolor. Young Fresh, I've been an artist for a long time, and I get asked that question a lot, and it's hard to pinpoint because I went through stages in my art career where all I done was oil paintings. I've only been using colored pencil for a little over a year, but I have 20 plus years of experience with graphite, 20 plus years of experience with oil paint. So I've been an artist for a long time, but this is a relatively new medium for me. My circumference actually broke last night, so I rigged it to hold the colored pencil in by using my gummy eraser, or my kneaded eraser, I'm sorry, just because I'm too lazy to go downstairs and try to fix it. But this is making me really nervous because there's some parts on the watch face where I really need the circumference. So if the way I have it temporarily fixed doesn't continue to work, I'm going to have to go buy a circumference tomorrow. Thanks, Hunter. I appreciate that. Thanks, maple syrup. All right, so let's see if I can get this to stay. The problem is it's not locking the pencil in, so that's why I have the kneaded eraser here, trying to rectify that. The last thing you want to do is to have colored pencil slip, because it's really hard to erase. Sometimes it won't erase. See, it just slipped on me. I would hate to ruin this drawing just because my circumference broke. Let's see, it keeps slipping. Let's see if I can fix it. Make this tighter. I just bought the circumference too, like a month ago. I don't know, guys. It's making me nervous. This is all right, I'm not using this anymore. I almost just ruined it. Well, I'm just not going to be able to work on the places where I need the circumference. Oh well. That was almost really bad. Alright, so I did slip right here, so let's go over that. Man, I just missed that white. That black almost went through this marker right here. That would have been not impossible, but it would have been frustrating to have to go back and fix that. So really, I need there's a dark shadow that separates the I've forgotten all the watch parts. This bezel, this is a metal piece, and this is the blue ceramic part of the bezel. So there's a shadow here, just like this one, that I need to go here, and then also I need to define and further highlight the shadow there. So I really wanted to finish this part tonight too. And I just don't think I should try this anymore because well, I guess I could try to go get some pliers and see if I could fix it that way. Alright, so I will, and there were some nice highlights on the metal here that would have given it a really nice realistic look. I guess I can always just freehand it, and then if it's not 100% straight, just go back over it when I get the circumference. Okay, let's try that and just see. See how it looks. That don't look too bad. So right on the opposite side of that shadow that separates the metal from the ceramic bezel, there's just a touch of white. And if you watch my lives, you hear me say this a lot. I'm not sure how this translates over the camera. I can't tell if you guys can see. It's so subtle. It's just a subtle indication that just further separates the bezel from that shadow area. Thanks to Jessica Winter. I appreciate that. I swear sometimes I lay down one of my colors and it just gets up and walks away. I have no idea. It's like the artist gremlin. It happens at least 5 times an hour. I have no earthly idea where my blending pencil went. Oh, there it is right in front of my face. I think the blending pencil works really well in small areas. If I had a large area I needed to shade or blend, I probably would not use this. I would probably use a brush or a blending stump, but usually brushes are better for large areas. But these work really well in a really small constricted area because the tip is so fine and you're just getting in there, just blending all those colors into the grains of the paper. Again, I'm working on such a small area. I'm not even sure if you guys can really see what I'm doing. I mean, I know you can see I'm drawing, but so I'm actually using graphite, and for the most part, I would advise not to use graphite with colored pencil. Just mixing those two mediums doesn't always yield the desired result, but in some scenarios you can mix them. I find that they work well with shadows and metals. That graphite just has a certain tint to it, depending on what metal you're trying to draw. But it's worked well with the watch metal. And basically they're not microscopic, but they're just small little areas where I've scratched or dented the watch, so it kind of changes the reflection of the metal. So here's an area where it's smooth, and this area is in a shadow. In the shadow area of this finger, but you can't really see it. But as it comes out into the light, you see there's all these different shades of gray. And again, that's just to indicate the areas that have scratches and dents and whatnot on that metal part of the watch. Thanks, Victor. USA, did you have a question? Sorry guys, if someone asks a question, I often miss the comments and questions just because my focus is primarily on the drawing. I do try to angle my phone so I can catch the comments out of the corner of my eye, but I do apologize if you guys are asking questions and I'm missing them. The other thing I like to tell people on lives, this is painstakingly slow. Now, from my perspective, I enjoy it. I get lost in these details, and before I know it, it's 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. But you, as a viewer, probably get bored sometimes, because I can literally spend an hour on a really, really small section, just because, again, I'm trying to give it a super realistic feeling and look. And sometimes I get ADD, and I'm popping all around, and I'll work on this a little while, then I'll pop over here and do the finger, because I can get bored also. But sometimes I'll just get lost in those details, and 2, 3, 4 hours go by, and I'm still just here working on this 1 square inch piece. I don't USA, I don't worry about smudging, not with colored pencil. For the most part, it really doesn't smudge. Here's what I have to constantly do. I'm always using a brush to wipe off the shavings, because I do press down hard, and then I have to. This plastic eraser from Prismacolor works really well. I'll just go around and clean up the edges, around the drawing like that. At least, and this works really well for me. Now, some artists will, put like a paper here and do this. Now, for the purposes of live, I don't feel like you guys get the full effect, if half the drawing's covered up. So that's usually why I don't cover it up. But again, I usually don't have issues with smudging. Now, if I was using graphite, absolutely, I couldn't lean my hand on that, because that would absolutely 100% smudge, or even charcoal. But colored pencil, for the most part, at least for me, does not really smudge. And then 2, even if it does, like, you can see this area here. I'm going to get one of my little mono erasers. So to some degree, it does smudge here. Now, this could be some graphite from when I did the sketch, but just to show you, and again, I'm not sure how well this shows up on the camera, but that cleans up really well. But I'm going to go over this part. This whole part here is going to be gone over with marker and colored pencil. So even if I do smudge it here, I don't really care, because I'm going to go back over it. The only parts I would really care about are around the outer edge, because for this series of pieces that I'm doing right now, I'm not doing backgrounds. So if you look at my hand with aluminum foil on my profile, if you look at the face with the plastic around it, there's no backgrounds. And that's just a theme that I'm doing for this particular art show. That doesn't mean that I don't ever do background, but for this particular art show that I'm doing these pieces for next year, the hand, the watch, the face, there's not going to be any background. So I'll make sure that all this area around the subject is, looks really good. No problem, USA. Another tip, sometimes if you use white over a gray or a graphite, it can give a bluish tint. And if you don't want that, you can use like a really light cream to do your highlights, and it gives more of a metallic highlight or reflection. And see, I constantly break my colored pencil because I put so much weight on them, and that's just me. I can't change that. Try to switch the camera angle just a second. Okay. So you guys can see this area here. This was done with a marker. So when I overlay it with a colored pencil, just to illustrate, one of the reasons why, myself and other artists do this, there's no white areas showing, and it just makes for a more smooth look versus if I took just a white sheet of paper and went over it with black. Look at the difference in the richness in these two. So that's why you use marker base. It just helps get rid of all the little grainy areas of the paper, and it just looks smoother and richer. Just a cleaner, more polished look.